These days, it's way too easy to get lost in the complexity of your traditional hardware-centric network. Your network has to transform to meet your dynamic business needs. You need a network that's resilient, more agile, easier to manage, and secure. One that allows you to adopt the latest innovations and cognitive capabilities while reducing costs and enabling new business models for growth. One that incorporates programmatic control so applications can be deployed in hours or even minutes. That's what software-defined networking is all about. SDN enables the application journey to the cloud. Worried you'll never get there? IBM Network Services has your back, with SDN solutions covering your data center, LAN, WAN, and communications infrastructure. We're your one-stop shop for future-ready IT, with a service delivery platform that cuts costs by enabling automation, analytics, and cognitive capabilities. Software-defined networking services from IBM, employing the best technology to build the perfect solution for you.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the webinar, Software-Defined Networking for Data Centers. My name is Norman Dorsch. I'm a Global Offering Manager with IBM, and for the next 20 minutes, I've got the pleasure to talk about how you can eliminate data center networking bottlenecks and how you can embrace software-defined networking to increase your company's agility. Let's dive right in. I assume that when you read the title of this webinar, you might have thought the following. I'm not concerned about networking. Networking is boring. I'm concerned about how to reduce my company's IT spending. Or how do I make sure my applications are always accessible from any device worldwide? Or how do I move my company's workloads to the cloud? Or how do I enable containerization and Kubernetes? Networking is often seen as the necessary evil that's just there and doesn't really do anything, maybe even restricts the business or business decisions. But what we will see today is that networking has changed, and networking is much, much more than that, and is much more than it was a few years back. When you think about networking and you automatically think about complicated switching and routing diagrams, layer 2, layer 3. No, it's much more than that, and with software-defined networking and infrastructure as a service, we enter a new age of networking that makes the business drive the network, not the network drive the business. I have mentioned the cloud earlier, and what we see is that cloud and the increased cloud adoption that happens at enterprises worldwide drives the need for comprehensive network modernization. There are three key aspects to this. Firstly, businesses struggle to keep pace with changing business dynamics and cloud adoption with traditional networks. I'm recording this in 2020 in the middle of COVID-19, and companies require an agile network that adapts to where the business moves. All of a sudden, we need thousands of users to access an application that's in my local private cloud data center. But also in non-pandemic times, there are a few internal and external decisions that influence the cloud strategies that many companies have, and many companies increase their cloud workloads. But they do want to keep some of their crown jewels, like their key application data, on-premise for various reasons. For instance, certain applications might have latency requirements that a public cloud solution can't meet, or the public cloud solution simply doesn't support this from an operational standpoint. So there's a hybrid cloud strategy. Secondly, multi-cloud. Most companies are in favor of a multi-cloud strategy, and there are many big public cloud providers, like IBM obviously being one key player, each with their individual strengths. This makes the networking extremely challenging, both from a provisioning and management standpoint, since those clouds are in various locations and geographies, but the business apps need to run everywhere, worldwide and independent, whether it's a public cloud, private cloud, or a hybrid cloud. The networking should combine these and provide one comprehensive effort and one comprehensive network across all various clouds and data centers. All this leads to the fact that, thirdly, we need a virtualized network driven by network orchestration and automation to support organizations in their cloud-specific goals. As I said earlier, networking should not restrict the business. It should be seen as an enabler. A virtualized and software-defined network automatically adapts those changes that are made on an application level, like moving an application from one cloud to another, or enabling a new application in a whole cloud geography, or deploying a new application on-premise. Think about the key purpose of the network is not to send packets from A to B because it's so cool. It's to enable the business. It's to connect a user to the application. That's why we have networking, and that's what a software-defined network virtualizes and automates. Software-defined networking by IBM Services has one key goal: to enable you to become successful with your individual journey to the cloud. We will help you move all your applicable applications to the cloud of your choice, while also providing you the flexibility to keep some of your applications on-premise. We'll provide you one unified experience with the maximum level of availability across any platform using open standards and networking as the enabler. IBM Automation helps you to dynamically manage and orchestrate your overlay network, basically to adapt those changes in the cloud strategy, like moving from one public cloud to another, deploying a new application on-premise, or enabling an application in another public cloud geo. IBM offers one experience. We take into consideration your specific requirements regarding speed, application security, data privacy, while also saving you time, cost, and nerves. So looking at the broader picture of software-defined networking, we see three main categories. One, everything in the branch, your devices that are connected in a traditional local area network, which is now turning into a software-defined LAN, a software-defined local area network. Secondly, we have the wide area network, how your sites are connected, how your different locations are connected via various technologies, MPLS, Internet, 5G, LTE. That turns from a traditional individually managed wide area network to a software-defined WAN, a software-defined wide area network. And also, and this is the topic that we're focusing on today, a software-defined data center networking. This covers all the technologies, whether it's a self-managed data center, a public cloud environment like IBM Cloud, or a private cloud that's managed by IBM on your behalf, tailored to your individual needs. Although those technologies seem very different from a technological standpoint, but also from a strategic and even commercial standpoint, from an IBM services perspective, it doesn't matter. We create one holistic experience across all those platforms and domains. And the principles that apply to either of those platforms. One key principle that applies here is the one that I mentioned earlier, so that traditionally networking is often seen as restricting applications or even restricting the business. However, in software-defined networking, it's the other way around. Networking is seen as the enabler. Business or applications define the network. So, as an example, if you have an application that has a certain latency requirement or needs to be made accessible to certain geographies, then the network in a software-defined world will adjust to those requirements and will adapt to those application-specific requirements. So the applications define the network, not the other way around. Secondly, traditionally, new networks take forever to deploy. Changes that seem relatively simple take weeks or even months until they're executed because they contain so many individual steps. So you've got individual management, individual planning, individual configuration of individual network devices like routers and switches, and obviously all that contains a lot of error potential. In software-defined networking, those new networks are deployed within hours, and network changes are often entirely automated without any human interaction at all. Obviously, this reduces the error potential a lot, which saves time, money, and nerves. Traditionally, you've got a lot of expensive carrier contracts using MPLS, which is very static, often very cost-intensive. But in software-defined networking, it doesn't really matter what the underlying technology is. So the physical network can be anything. It can be your traditional MPLS, if you prefer it, but it can also be LTE, or even 5G, or you go with an internet link, or point-to-point. Whatever the underlay physical network is, there's one centralized, virtualized, software-defined overlay network which spans across these physical underlay networks and creates one individual network that is spanning across the entire enterprise. Looking at the points that I just made from a high-level architectural standpoint, you can see that the IBM data center software-defined networking reference architecture consists of four main categories. On top, we've got automation and orchestration services. IBM uses Red Hat and other technologies to create a centralized orchestration experience, which spans across all those networking domains. So public cloud, private cloud, data center, wide area network, local area network, and all other data center domains. So compute and storage, there's one centralized orchestration approach. Red Hat is also a great way to enable automation. So we can proactively monitor the network and we can counteract when a problem occurs before it becomes a real severity or a real problem. Also, changes get automated, which saves a lot of time, which saves a lot of errors, and which saves a lot of cost. In the middle, we see two pieces. One, the overlay controls, and also the physical underlay. The overlay controls are the individual controllers managing your respective domain or subdomain, like data center, wide area network, compute. And those overlay controls are centralized by the top layer, by the orchestration. One layer below that, we've got physical underlay, which is just your traditional hardware. In this case of the data center, it's obviously your routers and switches. And those physical underlay components for the respective domains are managed by the virtual software-defined overlay controls for those respective domains. And again, those are then centrally orchestrated by one IBM automation and orchestration experience. One key aspect here is the integration with the other IBM services. IBM uses infrastructure as a service to seamlessly connect to other IBM services or your self-managed services and applications. So the entire networking can be seen and the entire data center can be seen as one infrastructure as a service for a holistic, unified experience. So with software-defined networking by IBM, your network is no longer a bottleneck. IBM Managed Infrastructure as a Service for Networking provides a holistic solution for an IBM-hosted, cloud-based, meaning public cloud or private cloud, software-defined networking data center service. With your network optimized with the rest of IT, you have the flexibility, resilience, and openness to accommodate evolving cloud strategies. Again, the key aspect is you have one holistic experience that brings all the benefits of a public cloud offering, like scalability and consumption-based commercial model, and combines it with all the benefits from a private cloud, like bring your own appliances. It's also one holistic experience across the entire software-defined data center, meaning high-performance storage, firewall, compute, and the network, but also one holistic experience across all your other networking domains outside of the data center, like wide area network, local area network, public cloud, private cloud, and your other IBM services. So one IBM experience, one holistic approach with IBM Infrastructure as a Service. Digging a bit deeper into the Infrastructure as a Service approach, we see that the model is basically twofold. Firstly, IBM provides an innovative architecture spanning across the entire data center, so compute, storage, networking. We support single-tenant or multi-tenant networking designs, and we can offer a physical and a logical cloud proximity, which means we're literally in the same data center if it's an IBM-hosted data center, or if it's a client data center, we can connect you to any public cloud. This reduces your latency to a minimum if you've got specific latency requirements. IBM uses a best-of-breed technology mix, meaning the best vendor technologies with automation and orchestration by IBM and Red Hat to centralize the approach. And secondly, our true as a service model brings you really the benefits of a public cloud into your own data center, or into a private cloud managed by IBM, or a public cloud. The configuration can follow your specific requirements and your specific policies, like in a self-managed data center, but managed by IBM, the monthly based and like the as a service pricing provides you easy to consume and really a modular way to consume those services. So in summary, I hope by now you would agree that networking can be a key enabler for your business, since it abstracts the physical network from the virtual software-defined network. Also, intent-based networking makes the application define the network and not vice versa. And most importantly, IBM can deliver one unified experience across your entire network and across your entire data center with modular and easy to consume infrastructure as a service offerings. Therefore, networking should become a key aspect of your enterprise transformation strategy, and I hope you would agree that networking is awesome, isn't it? So if you're interested in software-defined networking or infrastructure as a service, IBM should be your preferred choice. We have a comprehensive portfolio that empowers you and your entire infrastructure, not just network, to support your business goals. IBM has the technological experience and the capabilities to support you in your journey to cloud, and we can provide one holistic approach across your end-to-end solution. So if you are interested and want to learn more, please feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to engage and learn more about your infrastructure as a service strategy. You can also find me on LinkedIn or engage with other IBM experts also on other topics. via the link that's provided on this slide. Many thanks for your time today. I really enjoyed leading this webinar. Looking forward to staying in touch, and I hope you have a great day ahead. Thank you and goodbye.